This show is a part of the podcast network of the Walled Garden Philosophical Society, an international community of philosophers and seekers dedicated to the pursuit of truth, wisdom, virtue, and the divine, wherever they may be found. To find out more, go to thewalledgarden.com. Hello and welcome to another episode of Soul Searching with Seneca. Now, I really love that name, but I do also recognize that it is cheesy as hell, so still in the works. We'll see where we go with it. But in this episode today, I wanted to dive into verse number 3 of Seneca's 6th letter on sharing knowledge. And one of the reasons why I really love this passage, well, I guess we'll dive into it, but he's talking about sharing wisdom with other people and sharing what you learn and what helps you to grow. And I think that this is just a very important point that he makes in this letter. So I'm going to read it to you and then we'll have a bit of a discussion about it. So he says the following, quote, "You cannot conceive what distinct progress I notice that each day brings to me. And when you say, 'Give me also a share in these gifts which you have found so helpful,' I reply that I am anxious to heap all these privileges upon you, and that I am glad to learn in order that I may teach. Nothing will ever please me, no matter how excellent or beneficial, if I must retain the knowledge of it to myself. And if wisdom were given to me under the express condition that it must be kept hidden and not uttered, I should refuse it. No good thing is pleasant to possess without friends to share it." End quote. So I really like this idea, and I think it's one of the things that I learned early on when I was really trying to develop my character, which was this idea that, if you learn something of value, you really want to be sharing that with other people. Not in a kind of talking down to way, not in a kind of moralizing, put yourself on a pedestal kind of way, but in a way that, you have something valuable to share that you want to share with other people. And it kind of goes along with, what Seneca was saying in the previous episode, in the previous verse, where he's discussing this idea that true friendship is when two souls are intertwined in a common purpose of an honorable life and a common shared understanding of each other's faults and failings, and a forgiveness of that. And I think that it helps to have that kind of relationship with people in your life, because those are the kinds of people who you'll be able to share the good news with, that you've learned something that's really helping you, that's really changing you and making you a better person. You want those kinds of people in your life who you can share with and they can share with you. What have they learned that's helping them? What have they learned that is moving them to a new level in their life? Because, honestly, why wouldn't you want people in your life who are going to share important lessons that can help you to be less stupid, and who you can share important lessons with that can help them to be less stupid? That's a brilliant strategy for long-term growth and development. And I think that the person who really taught me why it would be valuable to share wisdom with other people and to share important lessons that I've learned with other people is Jim Rohn, the classic 80s and 90s personal development leader. He was such a wise person, and I really like his brand of personal development speaking, because it's less about the motivation and it's more about the wisdom behind why you should do certain things and why you should live a certain life. And one of the things that he always said is the great thing about sharing a good idea with somebody else is that person hears a great idea once, but, if you share it with 10 people, you get to hear that idea 10 times, which means that you get to reinforce that idea within yourself. And another great reason why you might want to share good ideas with other people is because if you can explain an idea to somebody and they understand it, that means that you actually really understand it yourself. But if you can't really explain an idea to somebody else, then that means that you don't really know the idea yourself. You haven't really grasped the full idea and used it in your life. So, this idea that, we should be sharing with other people the good ideas that we've seen, the good theories, the good concepts, we really need to move in that direction, because, there's so much crap out there to talk about, but there's so much good stuff as well. There's so much helpful wisdom out there that can help us to live really great lives. And I mean, if we want to contribute to the fabric of our society, contribute to the fabric that we are all connected by as human beings, then we want to develop that habit of sharing ideas, sharing the things that are helping us on our way in this life. And I think that to the extent that we are all able to cultivate the habit of receiving and accepting good ideas within ourselves from other people and sharing the good ideas that we see ourselves, we're all going to get stronger and wiser and better. And I think that Seneca makes a really good point at the end, which is to say that, if wisdom was given to me under the condition that it's only for me and not to be shared with others, then I don't want it. Seneca was a real humanist in a lot of the ways that he thought about, living. He wanted to share with others. He wanted to help others to see what he saw, to feel what he felt, to grow and to become what they could be. And this is one of the ways that he did it, by sharing ideas with people that would be helpful. And like we discussed a couple of episodes back, one of the things that Seneca says is that I'm writing this for the future generations. I want to pass these ideas on because I'm clearly seeing changes within myself, and it would be a good thing if more people would experience this kind of change. And that's a wonderful humanitarian effort. And I think that it'd be a shame if I didn't tell the other side of the story in this episode as well, which is maybe some wisdom about when the right time to share an idea is. And I really think that it has to do with the kind of relationship that you build with the people around you. Is it a relationship like Seneca discussed in the previous episode, where you can both share these ideas with the common interest of growing and learning and becoming better? Because on one hand, you want to share these great ideas with people, but there's also a part of us, I think that it has to do with adolescence, the kind of ego of adolescence, or even the ego that comes with being new to something like learning philosophy. When you first start learning philosophy, your mind just gets overblown with all of these amazing ideas, and you start to see some changes in your life and the way you see the world, and it can be very exciting, and it can be thrilling even, and you kind of get this idea that, I want to share this with everybody, I want everybody to know this. But in that kind of case, because I've definitely been there, I've definitely been in that place where the ego starts to come out and you start just sharing these ideas with everybody, and not everybody wants to hear them. And on top of that, maybe you haven't fully embodied these ideas to the point where it's even respectable for you to be sharing them. And what I mean by that is, so many times we can kind of let the ego come up and say, you need to get this idea out to other people, when you really don't know the idea yourself. And it's really not something that it's something that you're kind of just parroting across to other people in kind of this egocentric way. And having been there many times before, I can tell you that it's probably not wise. Wisdom would be to say, let's truly understand these ideas and let's show these ideas through my actions first, and then start sharing them if people are receptive to being told these ideas. And then finally, if you have embodied this wisdom, these ideas, or if you have taken something that's very helpful to you and it's really helpful to, and you would like to share this idea with people, my advice would be to really gauge the kinds of relationships where you share this information or you share this wisdom with people. There's a lot of wisdom in that biblical phrase. I think it was in the Sermon on the Mount. Possibly not, but it's a great idea, which is don't throw pearls before swine. It can sound kind of harsh, but some people are not interested in learning how to grow and become better and to move forward in a better direction in their lives. They just are not interested. And if you share these ideas with people like that, then it's kind of your own fault if you get bitten. If they take offense to it, or obviously there's so much that you can say that would be tactful, that would be making it more likely that people will hear your ideas. But firstly, you need to be receptive to other ideas as much as you need to share good ideas yourself. But don't throw pearls before swine is an excellent piece of advice for your life, because if you do keep on sharing great ideas that are really helping you in your life to become better with people who are not interested in hearing good ideas that can help them to be better, then you're just going to get bitten over and over again, and it's going to be annoying to you, and it can actually be kind of disheartening. It can kind of throw you off course a little bit and make you focus on things that are less important, which is, the opinions of other people. If something's working for you, there is wisdom in being careful with the kinds of people and the way that you share that information with other people, because personal development truly is personal development. It's a very personal game that we play, and it can be easy to be sucked into negative thinking and incorrect thinking if we're not careful about how we share that with other people. So, I think that the balance, the tightrope that we should walk with this sort of thing is, you should really, like Seneca said in the previous episode, develop those relationships with people where the common aim is at growth and the improvement of our lives and the mutual flourishing, right? And at such time, it would be great if you had that relationship where you can share your journeys with each other and be excited to talk about the things that are working for you and the things that are helping you on your path, but also be wise in your approach with sharing that kind of information with other people, because we are delicate beings. We're very delicate beings, and it's easy to be thrown off course if we're not careful with that sort of thing. So I hope that this episode has given you a little bit of wisdom, some lessons to learn, and some good information about why you should think about sharing good ideas with other people. And maybe I hope that you can take this away and think, how can you develop the relationships in your life in such a way that you're surrounded by people who are in that common aim of growing and becoming better, and with whom you can share excellent ideas and receive them in return. That's a vision of heaven right there. That's a beautiful thing to aim at, and I hope that you're able to do that. So anyway, again, I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and I will talk to you next time.